And we are live. Hi, Kamil.
Hello, hello.
So, pre-call, we discussed so many
Oh my
stuff,
God,
and
Daria came right away. Hold on.
oh my God,
She just sniped into this podcast here. What's going
Jesus
on?
Christ, which is weird because I just updated this whole podcast like a 10, 15 minutes ago. So,
Yeah.
thanks everyone for joining.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, this will be a fun one. We will try to stay consistent. I promise. Uh,
That's your promise, okay? I just came back from a 3-day camping trip with my kids. I didn't even shower yet, so it's all on you, the structure, okay?
well, you literally told me that you might wear a cowboy hat for this podcast. So, I don't know.
Maybe we'll get there. I got right
Cool.
here,
So we
man.
are both by the sea, which is fun, I guess. You're not at the camping site now.
No, 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 no. I'm back in my office and but
Oh,
still close to the sea. East Coast, Florida, in a town called Jupiter.
or you live in Jupiter, not just camping there.
Yeah, well, the camping ground is like 30 minutes, but it's actually one of the best in the States, so we just gotta make use
Ah,
of it too. It was the first time we went.
nice, nice, nice. I just realized you shared a photo about the camping site, and there were like palm trees, and my Italian mind immediately kicked in that you should be by the sea. That's
Yeah,
like a tell-all sign.
that is true. That is true.
Anyway, so tell me just like a short introduction on what you are doing and who you are, why people should care, and why the cowboy hat.
The cowboy hat is because I'm an immigrant to America, and oftentimes I find myself to be more American than a lot of Americans around me, so I now
That's
in
usually
Florida,
true with immigrants. Yes.
I got a cowboy hat, I got a Harley, I got tons of shotguns on my wall here if you would look around and all that type of jazz and guitars. I even have, the matching revolver for the because actually I bought the cowboy hat for a Halloween costume, but it had to be authentic, and then I bought a real revolver too because I'm in America, right? But that's that. No, look, people can decide whether or not they care about what I do, but I am always happy to help in the field of AI integration, specifically boring AI, as I like to call it. And what I mean by that, it's AI that kind of helps businesses increase their bottom line or be more productive, all that type of jazz. Not too much music and video and image generation, although I have fun with that, but really more niche down on that, not even talking about tools, talking more about first principles thinking, um, type of strategies on how to. It ended up being that I'm a AI culture advisor for a lot of companies. So I run the AI Adopters Club, and besides that, companies, mid-market companies in America usually hire me to do an assessment, and then I stick around to be in the role of a fractional chief AI officer or chief AI culture advisor, because it turns out that AI is much more
Is
culture.
that a thing?
Well, I made it a thing. I just told you about my brother that he made it. Actually, it wasn't even me. It was one of my clients that called me that coined that term for me. Maybe somebody already used it already. But the reason why is because I started talking about things like, look, if you really want people to start thinking with AI,
Mhm.
that in itself is already something, right? Thinking with AI and not just uh, telling AI what to do. If you want that to happen in your organization, you need to create an environment for experimentation. And you need to also create an environment that helps your employees to build habits that are helping them with AI adoption. Because it's not enough just to pick a tool and get a bunch of team licenses and that's it. You really need to create a culture. And that's what I do. And I publish on that as well. And I'm just having the time of my life, having a good time.
Tell me, I can tell. Tell me a little bit more about the boring stuff first. I think that's interesting. So our audience is mainly marketing people, and they are all over the place, right? So
Mm,
they are creative, they are operational, they are workflow addicted, they are very conscious about their budget. Marketing
mhm,
budget is almost usually the second largest budget within the company, and so on and so on and so on. So they tend to, I wouldn't say like overcomplicate things when it comes to AI, but they usually try to solve some sort of like a heavy creative output related problem with AI.
Mm,
We, on the other hand, usually advise them to do with the boring stuff. Start there. I don't know, content repurposing,
mm,
um, Facebook ads generation. I know it's insanely boring just by saying this out loudly. I'm yawning,
mm,
but still, it's usually hours of work per week, or sometimes even per day, depending on your performance marketing budget.
yeah.
Um, and the AI can really spin off many ads without any people involved, or
Mm.
it's a boring workflow that it can be repeated with a certain type of attention.
Yeah,
So I
and
guess you are doing something similar to that,
kind of, yes, but
or what do you
main
call boring?
when I say boring, it's mostly like, "Huh? Wait, what do you mean boring?" Right? I see AI hyping my entire X feed and everything, new tools, this and that. When I say boring, primarily what I'm talking about is not following all the hype, right? Not being on the latest and greatest, but instead working on the fundamentals in order to do the things that you just described, and then start with simple tasks or like clearly defined tasks, and then automate them, or at least have AI help you think through it and be much more efficient, because like you said, those are the little things that add up over time, and that's where
Yeah,
people can also play with it, and they can really get build like an AI intuition, right? um One thing I wanted to say, it, now it escaped my mind, but yeah, I mean, essentially, when you work on these first principles, like, it's not so much about, oh yeah, here's the thing, here's an example. So you might find a new tool, like let's say when Nano Banana came out, and you're just gonna go crazy and you're gonna say, "Okay, build me this, build me that," without much structure. Now, the boring part that I think is much more helpful is when you have a system on how you evaluate prompt output, how you build your prompt, you change it, you give it different type of context, and then you really have like a systematized way of testing this over time, and then you record what's working, what's not. You can do this across different tools when you're evaluating, oh, should my company use ChatGPT or Claude or whatever, Grok, Gemini. So you have like a boring process, but because of this boring process, just coming back to prompt engineering, I know the term is pretty old by now, but it still holds true. When you have a way to test it and refine it over time, that's how you really understand how these systems actually work, and you can kind of direct them. They'll never be 100% deterministic, but you can kind of get an idea of each tool's character, even down to the way where if you're only with Claude, that's like a lot of people, when they come up with a new model, like with 4.7, there's a lot of outcry right now that people really hate it for the way it behaves. But you can really pinpoint and you can build this AI intuition on how to direct those tools better, and you'll be much more effective over time. So, really, the boring stuff is the things that compound over time. It's kind of like, there's this saying, like, if you were to fell a tree in an hour, you should spend like 40 minutes sharpening the axe, right? Before you start chopping. So
sure,
sharpening the axe is the boring act, but it will help you in the long run.
sure. You have a question, by the way, immediately from
Let's
the
go.
chat, from Ivan, um, and it's directed directly to you. Uh, where he sees the organization culture will necessarily derail AI integration at growth level, and how does he handle correction of that derailment source when it stems from fundamental character defect in principles at the organization? Kind of complicated question.
Simplify that for me, please. Just because I
Ivan, please simplify a little bit more.
I mean, I guess that what are generally the pitfalls? What are the bottlenecks? When let me just, I'm trying to read that on my little teleprompter monitor here. Um, the biggest problem is, if I understand it correctly, I'm just going to go off the cuff. Um,
Sure,
so usually, what happens is, I talk to a CEO or owner of a company. We meet somewhere or through my personal network, for example, and they're all either excited or afraid of AI, and they know they need to integrate it if they haven't already. And then they end up hiring me to do an assessment, and it's great. They know what to do for the next 12 months. And if I stay on, yeah,
Sorry, I haven't simplified it for
these people.
you.
That makes it
Okay, this
even
is a
less
fun
clear
story.
to me. I mean,
Uh,
is it just me? I don't trust my brain right now. Like, you gotta translate that for me, man. But I'm just gonna end on this real quick. So while you're
these
thinking
people
of
are
how
dicks, and AI is gonna
Ivan
kill
is
them.
actually asking,
That's what he said.
um, so the thing that usually happens is the leadership is fired up, but they don't really know of what it takes to have company-wide adoption. They know they feel the pressure either from the market, or they feel the pressure from their competition, or maybe their friends who have similar companies to do something. And so that's where it comes up. But then when it comes through the follow through, meaning where the leadership has to stay engaged, or they have to really give employees this time and space to experiment with and create a space where they can communicate about different. Hello? Are you still here?
Still hear you.
I don't know what happened here. I just had a black screen. They need to give the employees a space to communicate what worked, what didn't work in these experimentations. And that's where it often lags. And over time, that's where you get all those numbers. Like, yeah, we build a project, maybe we have a license for everybody, but then 90% of the people never really use it because it's not in their habit. Okay, they're busy with their day to day, and they feel like they need to learn something new, and to a degree that's true, but also the AI is really one of the simplest new technologies that you can learn, because once you understand it, you can use it to educate yourself about it by using it, right? And I hope this is kind of something. Let's see, Ivan.
Kinda. I think also there is a fear element. Well, if you're not concentrating or focusing on leadership, which we usually do, that they are the decision makers. Usually, employees are kind of like. I mean, it's okay to admit that they are afraid. They are using AI right now to enhance their own workflows, but they are using it in the shadows. That's why they call shadow AI, right?
Right, right.
Uh, and it's really hard to connect that to actual public workflows of the company because, they are just afraid that once the workflows are connected and automated and handled by AI or with AI, some of the employees won't be needed or won't be necessary. That's
Mhm.
like a harsh take on that, I guess.
That's true, but at the
And
same time, yeah.
yeah, yeah. No, go on.
At the same time, so yeah, in order to, first of all, yes, absolutely right about this, the disconnect because between shadow AI and the lack of an standard usage policy or accepted usage policy for AI tools, or like AI governance, so to say. Almost no company has that, right? You need to create an onboarding for people that are already using AI, because that's what you want as a company owner, to have people that are actually curious on how to be more effective. But you need to kind of roll them in without punishment, right? So they're not worried. You so you would create some sort of usage policy and an onboarding ramp. And then also what always helps is to have a certain type of data set or a version of a data set that is completely free for employees to allow to play around with, so they can experiment and they can show what works. Um, and Yeah, so that's definitely helpful, and we've done that in the past with some of my clients.
And one of the other joiner annotated memories said that if they aren't excited about the tool, it means they are basically incapable of understanding the opportunities of and being creative with it. So if they struggle to find a use case, they are not the ones that should point the direction. But it's talking about the leadership, and I'm sorry, I will be frank, but I think people misunderstand how leaders usually decide within these organizations. Most on the mid manager level, yes, they maybe care about the tool. So, like a CMO or like C-suite, someone might be interested in the tool itself, but not in the practical terms, like what can you use for the tool, how can you use it, and da 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 da. More about the outcome.
Hmm.
And on the higher management level, they don't care. They just see it as like a, I don't know, cost cutting way or efficiency lever that they can pull or spin up, which is fine. I mean, that's not a bad point of view.
Mm.
That's the normal point of view for any leaders, I guess, on a bigger, greater organization. Um, so, as an employee, you don't need to talk about the tools and what the use case for that set tool. I think it's more important to talk about the efficiency gains that they can get
Yeah.
with using that tool.
And I also
If you are
see
going to sell it internally, that's what I'm trying to say.
right. I see 3 types of leadership. One is very clear, like, yeah, we wanna save money, right? We wanna do the same with less. The other ones are like
We don't need to hire new people. Sorry to
right, right,
stop
right.
you. That's like the
And
similar. Let's name the beast. It's we can fire some people,
yeah,
and we also don't need to hire new people.
yeah,
We
that's exactly
preserve
what
the payroll, which is fine, cool.
right.
And what we don't spend on payroll growth or reduction of the payroll, we spend it on growth. Plus, we will 2, 3, 5, 10x the efficiency anyway with the
Mhm.
same amount of resources that we have.
Then
It's
there's
a damn fucking good deal. That's what I
well,
would say.
for now, we don't know
Yeah,
really where
yeah,
it's
yeah.
gonna go, right? But, then there's the second, type that I see is, like, the optimist, which is like, okay, pre-assessment, right, or pre-integration, they're like, we will enable our employees to do more. And then as the assessment continues and like, oh, wait a second, actually, you know what? We'll stop hiring. And then they fall into the first group, right? And that's okay. And then there's this third group, which I work a lot with as well. And those are the really true believers. And they're actually really out there uh, to do more and for all 3, no matter what, no matter in which category you fall in as a leader and your company falls into, you want to tell your employees to be honest, like, "Look, you your job will be gone. So the best route that you can take is to automate your own job out of existence." And you do that by using AI to do what you're doing today so that you can then and this is the title of my first, post, was, that you can then climb into the director's chair of your previous role. So if you have been a graphic designer, for example, you can now, have AI do the pixel pushing and all these types of things, but you steer the brand voice, you steer the direction of it, right? The strategic part, the higher level thinking, whatever that looks like for your role, right? If you, used to be a data analyst, for example, AI is now crunching the data, and maybe you have to learn storytelling in the corporate environment, what to do with that data, right? In order to turn these insights into something that can move the company in a certain direction, right? So I see it as an opportunity. AI is going to come no matter what. It's really about beating the market to automating yourself and then learning the skills that you need in order to, let's say you would apply to a director's role, right? What's the next role look like? And how can you get into a role that's above the compute layer in a business, right? So where are the decisions being made before AI even makes an impact, right? Because there's like this value proposition or value chain, so to say. And the closer you can get above the AI compute layer today, the safer you are. But, I mean, quite frankly, nobody knows what's going to happen in a year from now. I don't know if I'll have a job in a year from now or if I'm going to start my fries business that I was thinking about for a while. But right now, and always education or learning about something will take away the fear and it will probably help you understand where the next step will be, right? Rather than just closing your eyes and hoping for the best.
So true, true, true. Another comment also. Sorry, this is very interactive conversation. By the way,
That's awesome. I love
unusual,
that.
which is great. Yes. Same comments are annotated in memory. This is a really minimalistic mental frame. That's like a I don't know, diplomatic way of saying that is stupid. I guess. Productivity. Productivity is a really dangerous trap, and I'm talking about the leadership interested mainly in reducing the personnel. So the reason why I wanted to mention this comment publicly is to be, grab the opportunity to be frank again. If you ever worked in a company that had, I don't know, minimum of 50 people, let's say, but more like 100 people, with multiple teams and practices within the company, you would know that most of the work that they spend is on meetings and coordination of the work, right?
Mhm.
So, and sorry for again being super frank here, but you're not just reducing the personnel with AI, but you're eliminating the need for constant coordination, shall we say. So when you treat it coordination as an orchestration through these AI agents, workflows, whatever, details doesn't matter here. But let's just say that you can do that. You will have less meetings, you will have less coordinational like addition onto the work. That's like, I don't know, depending on the company and the style of the business that you do, I would argue that it's like minimum 30% of the total workload that you do is the coordinating of the work. And just by reducing that by, I don't know, 10%, you will gain a lot of free hours that you can spend on actual work. And you are reducing that amount of work, the coordinational work, by, sorry, but coordinating with less stakeholders. That's also a diplomatic way of firing more people. Uh, by that, so I stand by that all the time, and I also believe that you mentioned that, for example, some designers or whoever's will be able to step up and decide on certain level of type of work, like more strategic roles. I would push back. I don't think that some of the people will be able to step up or want to step up
Oh, it's
into
definitely not
within
everybody. Yeah,
organizations.
yeah.
So I think the goal here, for at least for from a leadership perspective, is to decide that yes, we are going to do this. We are going to adopt AI a little bit more. For mid managers, I think it's important to understand how people are working together within the teams, so they can find those people who are curious enough and motivated enough and incentivized enough to step up and become more like an orchestrator with AI. And yeah, the rest who are not are probably have some hard times and hard days.
Yeah, and I mean,
Sorry, I just wanted to be super honest here.
no, I totally agree. Look, I don't think any company has the obligation to take care of their employees beyond what they can do for the company in a bigger picture, right? I mean, let's just be honest. But in their own self interest, they would create an environment where the cream rises to the top. So the people that are
Yeah,
really
yeah.
self propelled, they want to, they're forward looking. That's how you self select. Of course, no, I totally agree with you. Um, and also to the point where, like, who knows what's going to happen in a year? Like, there are people saying, look, the next 10 years are going to look really chaotic, because,
The last 10 years were also chaotic.
well, we don't.
Uh,
I don't think we've seen anything yet. I mean, just look at all the developers, right? Very
yeah,
highly
yeah.
specialized, intelligent people. Often tie their whole purpose, right, life's purpose, to their job. Like pretty much everybody, especially in America, right, where I live.
Especially in the US. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and because, if you ever had a conversation with an American, it's like, and I love that, by the way,
Who are you
uh,
is usually the
"Who are you
answers
and
that
what do you
what I
do?"
do.
Right? And I like that. But
But
I
it's usually the
remember going
same.
back to Poland, after living in the States for a little bit, I went on a vacation to Poland, and I just talked to some Polish guy like, "Hey, so what's your name?" And then, the second question, like, "What do you do?" He's like, "What the fuck do you care?" Well, sorry, man. Just looking for opportunities, right? And it's we can be friends, but maybe we can help each
Well, the
other. That's
opportunity
the
is to
point.
have a beer, but that's it. So
Or when I used in Austria, when I used to live there, I had my daughter there, and I remember we were there just for a year. That this GDPR thing came up, and it's technically illegal to even talk to people about business because they can like send some entity on you or something. I'm like, what? And then in practice, it's like you need to belong to some hunting lodge before you can even talk to like a guy that works at a bank or something. Like stuff like that. So But, that's
In Italy, by the way, unrelated but just fun stuff. In Italy, if you ask someone what they do, who are they? They usually the answer is about some regional stuff. So I live in X commune or region, and that's where identify myself with. I eat those foods, I drink those drinks, I walk those roads, and everything is hyper localized.
mm,
And probably the I don't know 10th or 11th stuff that they tell you is that what they work
yeah,
or how they make the living. No one really cares. So
right.
yeah. Anyway, sorry.
I mean, no, I miss Italy. I got engaged in Italy, actually. That was great, and I miss the food. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, everyone misses the food.
The funny thing is when people in America, when they fly to Italy for a vacation, they eat more than here, but they get skinnier.
Well, usually people, that's true. Well, that's I don't want to offend anyone, but that's because of the American diet. But anyone who's coming to Italy, usually they balloon up because they eat too many carbs,
Mm.
pasta and pizza and stuff, right? I don't want to derail the conversation to Italy too much, uh,
But you walk a lot
um,
too, so
but I
that's
live
fine.
there, yeah. So, but you walk a lot and you share the pasta. So in Italia, usually the Italians they sit together and they order two pasta dishes for four people, and it's shared within the family. So not everyone is eating one big pile of
Yeah,
chunk
yeah,
of pasta.
for sure, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah. Anyway, another comment. We have so many interactive things here. Two things annotated in memory. This meeting could have been an AI chat.
Isn't that
Yes.
what it is? Wait, am I in the wrong room? Or does he mean like a
uh,
cat chat?
Two studies shows that people think they are being more productive, but they usually spend 40% more time on the same tasks. While management says, well, you are now more productive, here's more work. That might be true. And I've seen that many times, especially with AI. And this is that problem is the over productifying whatever thing. I don't know how it's called. Um, that is well, it's I know it sounds arrogant after X, but it's a skill issue, right? So
Mm,
that's the part that you can actually develop. So if you are using better in a better way of your AI tools, whatever tools that you use, you probably spend less of that 40% on that task. And I think that's where people like us can help
mm,
to reduce that time. So you have a I don't know, you're able to one shot stuff with AI a little bit more.
yeah. But also
I
what
don't
I
know.
heard from that is, that, when you get more stuff done, you get more stuff to do, right? And then your boss is gonna give you more work. Is that kind of what I'm looking at? Because that
Kinda, yes.
and it's a real problem if you think about it. Because are you familiar with the Givon's law? I think that's what it's called. Have you ever heard of it?
No.
It's basically, the phenomenon that it's with everything. Look, I was at the like, this is the most American thing you're gonna hear today, okay? And this was new to
Jesus
me
Christ!
too.
And this is after the shotguns and cowboy hats.
Yes, yes. So I went camping, right? And this correlates to G1's law. I went camping and I brought an AC into my tent because
What?
electricity was there. It's provided. You don't pay for it. So you can just run the AC the whole day, right? And this is basic.
Jesus Christ! I mean,
Look, my neighbor told me about it. I didn't even think about it. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess. So we'll do it. And so I took the AC and I just used I wouldn't run it here 24/7 in my house where I have to pay for it. But essentially, Gibbon's law is kind of like, I hope it's the right law that I'm quoting here. If you have more of the same research for cheaper, you will use more, right? So it's the same with like token
wait,
limit.
the AC bill was included in the camping
Yeah.
site fee?
Yeah. You can use as much electricity as you want. Doesn't matter.
Fuck.
And so essentially this is going to be the same thing for workers, right? If you become more productive, what's your boss to stop you from doing more while paying you the same, right? And he could make the same case like, oh yeah, well our competition is doing that, so we have to do it too.
Well, I
Just
come
think
from
it
a socialist
unhealthy.
country originally, so I understand this law. If everything is state-owned, it means that everything is free, and if it's everything is free, everything is wasted. So,
Yeah, you
basically,
just use you just use
that's the
more,
rule.
right? Right.
Yeah.
So I haven't found really anybody addressing that in AI in business yet because most companies haven't really implemented it well yet. And also, this is a little bit of a hurdle where, when we talked about earlier, some people don't want to say that they're using AI because they can just coast along. you know,
Yeah,
they do like 15 minutes of work and get done as much as somebody who's working for 8 hours, and the rest of the
and
day they're just on TikTok, right?
that's what I wanted to also say. Again, sorry to be super frank here, but, I know that everyone has this spiel that, that work matters so much. Sorry, for most people, it doesn't. So they might play this in front of their employers
Hmm.
and in front of the conferences and whatever. But most people, I mean, and let's be honest, you go in all the time, 8 to 10 hours or 12 hours. If you can use a tool within the office that reduces your work hours to, I don't know, 3 hours a day, and the rest is, I'm not saying TikTok, but like, I don't know, taking care of like stuff, running errands, or
It's
I don't
TikTok.
know, talking with your yeah, yeah, or just going camping with AC in the
No, I mean,
tent,
I come across stuff.
right? So
I see things where I'm literally thinking I'm doing okay. I had my best year last year financially, but I see things. I'm like, dude, I want to get a job. you know, I just want to get a job and then get another job and another job. You know what I mean? Like, and you might have heard those
there is a
stories.
there is an expression, and
Yeah,
not, I am not 100% sure that it's still like it's a thing now, or on Reddit, I think. Like, and I'm not even sure the name. It's like overworked or overhired or something. So
yeah,
people who
yeah.
work remotely, I'm not sure. Sorry if I'm framing it wrongly. I can't remember now. But people who work remotely, like myself, I work remotely for like Jesus, 12 years or so. They have multiple full time jobs
Mhm.
sometimes.
Oh yeah,
I didn't do that ever. I did the full time job and two minor half ass jobs. But I know that people actually do two or sometimes even three different
yeah,
full time jobs. And what they do is that they just work for 10 years and that's it. They make enough money to do
yeah.
nothing after
There's
that.
and that was even before AI. If you look at some of the
Yeah,
Reddit
that was
forums.
before AI. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, the way
yeah,
AI
yeah.
we see today. There's people in software development. I remember there's this one story. I don't know if it's credible, but I don't see why not. There's this developer at
It was on
Google.
the internet, so it must
It
be
must be
credible.
right. He said that but he described exactly what his day looks like. So I don't know. Um, he was making like
They they
400 grand at Google, right? And nobody ever checked
They
on his
use
work.
two different computers, two
Yeah,
different monitors,
yeah.
everything, because you cannot log into the same machine because
Right,
it's
right.
tele, and I don't know, they had certain rules and shit. It was weird.
Yeah. At that point, you
Anyway,
can just buy another computer and for a full time salary, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. What else you wanna talk about? What should we talk about?
Your Well, talk about your problems, please. Uh,
Oh my god.
no,
I don't know if
no,
you
no,
wanna
no,
go
not
there.
personal, not personal,
Taxes.
but
Oh, wait,
yeah.
sorry, you're in Europe. I'm not even gonna mention it because 'cause you're gonna kill me.
So yes, although yeah, don't even go there.
No.
Uh, So, what are the struggles and hurdles that you have with your clients? So, you work in AI adoption. You talk about a lot about AI culture, if that's a thing. You
Mhm.
said it is. Um, what's the main, I don't know, challenge that they face? Why wouldn't they hire you? Why wouldn't they feel that you are doing enough? What are the problems that you face all the time?
Yeah, I
Common
mean,
problems.
I don't know why they wouldn't hire me because they don't get back to me, but I know what I don't know the people that don't hire me, but I know the people that hired me and it didn't work out as well as it could have,
Ah,
and that is really comes back to the if you want to boil it down, I like to boil things down, right? It comes to the culture because yes, I'm there. There was this one client, and I was hired past my assessment to help with the integration of the roadmap, and it just really boils down to the point that people, even though we integrated like a 2 hours a week mandatory experimentation time, and we built communication channels and experiments and clinics and all that type of jazz, people just don't have, they're overwhelmed. They don't have the time. They don't see the immediate value for their specific role. Um, like in corporate, like it just feels like another thing that they have to do, and maybe they just frankly, since you like being frankly, they just don't care enough about their job for some reason, to change something. Unfortunately, not everybody um, is destined to learn how to learn. Like, how many people are actually reading books when they're adults? If you think about it, right? Not a lot of people, right? How many people learn something new um, once a year or twice a year, right? They just don't do it. It's not energy efficient. And our brain goes back to energy efficiency. So if we can use the path of least resistance, that's great. And if you can show that, that's why I like to blow people's mind. I used to have this metric. I still have it. I just don't follow it. This metric called MBPW, minds blown per week. And uh,
That's nice.
I like to use that because here's a fun fact. You would think that a lot of times AI adoption happens, or interest in AI adoption on an individual level happens when you say, um, look, there's like an executive assistant and you show her how she can create a report with AI, right? But that's actually not the case. What really needs to happen, you need to kind of blow her mind with anything that can be personal. It can be just something where she's like, wow, I had no idea this could be possible. If this means that she can write a book for her kids in a weekend and illustrate it, maybe even narrate it with AI, write it,
Mhm.
right? That's gonna blow our mind. And then this internal mechanism starts, like, of asking, "Huh, what else can I do with that? If I was able to do this here, can I translate this tool into this domain?" And that's a really important thing. Like, this integration, cross domain integration is really important. Um, and that's what most people don't understand. Like, you need to blow the individual's minds so that they want to learn it, because you can't force this stuff on people. You know, I can't force a horse to drink water, right? You can just bring it to the water, but the horse has to drink it itself. And that's
And
where
do you have any? And I love this law, by the way. It's amazing. And I remember when, 2024 early, I think. I had this moment of mind blowing with ChatGPT. It was so early; everything was too amateurish in terms of AI, but still, um, I just got it that okay, this is more than a chatbot.
mm,
This is interesting. Um, and yeah, you need that experience, otherwise you won't go even further or deeper.
yeah. Or you
Get
just
what?
forget about it, because it's not remembered. We remember things when there's an emotion attached to it. And if however you get that emotion, that's cool. Like, for me, it's so funny because I actually started with books. So I was a consultant for I mean, uh, 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 I was hired by a German consulting company to work for a German company client. And right in the middle of it, that was end of 22, is when ChatGPT kind of went into the public eye. And right in that project, I started using it. And within a week, I was running circles around my team. I'm like, wow, that's amazing. And then 1 week later, I sit down with my wife in my library, and the Friday morning, I'm like, you know what? Today I'm going to write, illustrate, and publish my first book. And she's like, what are you talking about? Right. And then I did that. Right. And in 4 hours, it was on Amazon. And it was just, it was like a kid's bedtime story book. Right. That's it.
Nice.
And it was on Amazon. And all I did was basically ask ChatGPT, what are 10 values that are worth teaching your children? And it gave me 10 values. And then I made 10 stories with ChatGPT. Each story has like a different character, so I illustrated it too, right? Very short for parents. to read like within like 5 minutes and put the kids to sleep while learning something, right? And so that
How
was
much did
kind
you
of like,
sell?
huh?
How much did you sell?
Oh, I don't even know. It's still selling. It's not like a bestseller. It's just like, it's just out there and people are having fun
Nice.
with it. But to me, it was a proof of concept. Could I
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it? I
yeah.
never wrote a book
Totally.
before. I mean, I still didn't write a book. I published it, but it's not me writing it. But I had the idea behind it, right? So it was just a proof of concept. And that kind of was like, okay, what else can I do? What else can I do? And you need to achieve that. And also, what that helps, by the way, this is another thing that I also often tell people when they're starting out with AI and their job or wherever. Try to focus on one single project and then use the best way to solve that problem in that project, because then you will be shielded. You have those strategic horse blinders, and you will be shielded from all this hype, all the news cycle which goes crazy, and you only focus on what you need. So for this, what's the best AI to write creatively? What's the best AI to illustrate in a character consistent way, whatever, right? And that's it. Just those two. And then from that moment on, you learn the basics of interacting with generative AI, prompting, right? What works, what doesn't work, thinking with AI. And then you get better and better. And you start simple and then it gets complex pretty quickly.
The way that I agree completely. I wanted to mention two things. The one is that how I approach this whole change thing, because that's important. And the second thing is that I think I was a little bit too frank with employees nowadays. And we had a comment here, by the way, that about reading and cultural modes. Um, I just read it as Rowley. Actually, there are also different cultural models beyond stereotype. Americans are less interested in reading, and readers at a global level prefer fantasy and mystery. Escapism more than learning, consuming, and more than creating. And that actually kicked something into my mind. So thank you for commenting. Is that when you are at your job, you're not alone, even though that you are alone at the office. You have your family in the background at home. You have your own problems. You maybe have health issues. You maybe have financial issues. You have family issues. You have, I don't know, dreams, whatever, anything that needs your attention or energy to not just create but just like manage that whole thing. And I'm not even talking about things that you don't even have direct relationship with, like the news or politics or I don't know, direct influence on it. You just consume it and it makes you even more nervous and anxious.
Mm.
So so what I'm trying to say here is that sometimes it's not true that you don't care about your job. Sometimes you just care about something else more, because something else is it matters more. And who would argue with you that yourself, your family, your private life matters more than your job? I'm European, so I will be the last person on earth who will argue with that statement, probably. But still, I think it's important to know that that sometimes people have just things that not just generally don't care. So I wanted to put that out loudly, quickly. And the second thing is that the boring part. So I think, and this is how I approach it. Um, so when you need to change something in within the company and in the workflows that you're doing, you're obviously starting with the boring shit, right? So like I don't know, always marketing examples that I have. So
I mean, anything
repurposing
that is
content.
documented and ideally something that has a high impact and low variability, right? So yes, if you have an SOP
Yes.
for something and you could
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
quick
yeah, yeah.
wins is the game, right? You want to get
Yes.
quick wins.
Yes, 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 yes. Totally, totally. We also have this impact matrix without whatever.
Mhm.
I don't want to go into the details. But like convincing them to at least do less boring shit. I know it sounds crappy, but those boring workflows are boring for the people who are actually doing those workflows as well.
Mhm.
And when you can convince them that they will do less of that, their own work will be less boring, shall we say. They won't be burned out so much. They will be able to do something else, or even if they won't win some freed up hours, the way that they approach the work is more creative by itself, because they are discussing it with a with an AI agent, or more managerial level of work that they can do. It's more a little bit more fulfilling, and when you have a little bit less boring of a job and a little bit more fulfilling in terms of what you are doing, I think that's a win, not just for the company, fuck the
Mm.
company, but for yourself as an employee. So you will be less tired, or I don't know, not motivated when you're going home. You will, you know, maybe even speak about your job at home because you just simply enjoy it. I know it's a weird thing. Uh,
Yeah, and you grow,
but
you
yeah, and
grow
you
in your
grow into, yeah,
and in life and in nature, you either grow or you die. So you need to have something that
yeah.
you look forward to, and
And
I
yes,
I like people to learn and adapt. That's why my life motto is here: adapt and create. Resilience, adaptability. You should see it as something that, life's not over only because you've been in the office for 20 years, maybe, and the routine has set in. This could be a second start to do something. And you have a lot to offer inside of this new system because you have this domain expertise. So you are actually much more qualified to become the director, step into that next role that you weren't able to do before. So I see it I like to frame it as an opportunity. The whole point of the AI Adopters Club was to move people away from a state of fear that AI will take their job away, to hopefully use AI as a stepping stone, to get to the next step, to maybe even get promoted. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's actually going to happen, but in the worst case, you as a person will develop, and then whatever you find on the way, that's up to you.
totally. And one last comment, by the way. Do you think there are generations that are better at interacting with AI but less interested in upgrading their work? And thanks again for commenting. I can relate to that personally. Um, I don't know about the generations at all. And I'm 44, by the way. So I don't know. Um, but what I find myself personally, and that's utterly personal, so I don't want to generalize it for everyone, um, is that some previously boring shit that I did as a marketer. Well, FYI, I've been like in the marketing leadership roles for the last 5, 10 years. So, for example, I didn't do, I don't know, too much copywriting, or too much website building, whatever that means, or design or stuff like that. I always had people who did that, and I was the team leader. Um, but now, or at least nowadays, um, I do a little bit more about those with AI, and I actually enjoy it.
Mm,
So it's weird because, to be frank, those type of outputs that I create, or workflows that I create, are pretty junior sometimes from my level of work. Sorry, I don't want to be sound arrogant or something, but still, yet I actually enjoy doing those with AI because I do it at a speed, at scale, interactively. Um, I have the full spiel set up, so it's really interesting to do basically anything with it. So I guess maybe yes, some people are just not really want to upgrade their work generally, more like upgrading the experience of their work,
mm.
or how they experience their work. And I think it's a better experience than crunching shit on Excel and, I don't know, moving pixel to here on Photoshop, and I don't know, like Jesus. So it's like super. I mean, just by telling that, it's super boring.
Mm.
Meanwhile, you are just talking to something, and it spins up something on the screen. It's like, I don't know, kind of like playing.
Yeah.
It's like a game. and it's really interesting to do,
Yeah,
especially as an adult. I don't know.
absolutely. No, absolutely. Have you gotten into vibe coding at all?
Yeah, so aside from the junior level shit, we do a lot of stuff like spinning up tools,
Mm,
uh, marketing plug here. Our paid program is consisting of accessing of six, I think, six paid tools, which we vibe coded together for marketers. No designers, no developer, nothing, Claude. That's it.
mhm,
So and they work beautifully. Um, it's This is also a play thing, by the way. Previously, you had to hire a lot of developers, a lot of designers, a lot of whatevers, and now you can actually do really quickly something
yeah.
workable,
It's not just the
more like a
cost,
personal
right? It's the
software.
time too. Like, you can just whip it
Yeah,
out and try it out.
yeah. If you need a landing page now, it's like it's done in an hour
Yeah.
for anything, and it's so interesting to see that, and it's also a little bit frightening to see
Mm,
that sometimes you just you are the one who is deciding what needs to exist on the first place, because time and energy is not really a barrier anymore, right? So it's not like, oh, we need a landing page for this type of service that we are trying to sell here or whatever. Let's hire whoever on
mm.
Fiverr or whatever, spin something up. We have a draft and blah, 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 blah. It takes a week or two. Now it's like an instant.
Yeah. Now it's about taste. What is it
And
worth
it's all about
building?
this. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Cool.
Very awesome.
Anything sorry for rambling. Um,
No,
anything else
man, it's
that
your
you want to
podcast.
share?
Uh, no, I would love to see if there's any other questions. Other than that, I actually just looked on Monday. I published uh, a guide on how to build a branding system or brand system. Would love to hear your take on it. I can send it to you later, and we can talk about that. Because I'm not
You should share it, and I will put that, if you agree with the link, I will put that in the show notes.
okay.
I think it's important to
Yeah,
have it.
yeah. Would love to hear if it's worth anything. But other than that, no, man. I mean, I had a great time.
Me too.
To have a good crowd. Always love to talk to people from Europe. And I'm about to go and take a shower now.
Where are you from originally? Tell
I
that
was born in
little
Poland, but
secret, because
yeah,
where?
I was born in Poland, but raised in Germany.
Ah, okay, 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 okay. So I understand now. Because you said that you were smuggled across the border once
Yeah.
in your tagline.
Yeah, I was born during the Cold War, and, so my parents, in order to get a visa to get to West Germany, they had to leave a
Ah,
deposit behind, and that deposit was this guy, so they left me with my grandma, and then 6 months later, she somehow
fascinating.
took me over the border to West Germany, and then I lived in on Borkum first, which is like a, little island in North Germany, and then we moved to the Hamburg area. And that's it. I grew up in Germany, and then in 2009, I moved to Hawaii, and I lived there for 10 years. And maybe,
That's a harsh change.
yeah, but the reason why I mentioned Borkum is because in Hawaii, I never had island fever. I always liked being there. So maybe that's why. But I had a good time. So, and also with that comes probably a little bit of this attitude of taking work less serious than the average American. So I definitely vibe with that, how you said that. But yeah,
I
man, I
was
think
also born behind the Iron Curtain, so I understand.
Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 exactly, right? Hungary, you said, right?
Yeah, Hungary. Well, we
Yep.
were on the wrong side,
You know
guess.
how it is. I'm 41 now, you're 44, so you get that.
Yeah,
Yeah, man, but,
cool.
I think it's an exciting time. I think people, if they're interested in self-development and really, growing, it's the best time to be alive. There's so much happening on every front, and the coolest thing is you can really be successful in any kinda niche that you wanna be. So if you're an accountant for florists, be the best accountant for florists that can automate those services in that industry for some reason, right? I'm just making it up.
That's a weird
Evolve.
niche.
I know. I was trying to come up with something niche. You know what I mean, though, right? It's there's really
Yeah, I
no
understand. Yeah,
excuse.
yeah, yeah.
There's really no excuse, and you will be rewarded in at least the feeling of growth, because that's what it's all about. And then the market will hopefully reward you for that. But I
So
don't
this
see
was
for European AI prognostications because like I don't know what's going on.
we are behind with everything. So
Yeah,
I treat Europe as an open air museum where it's amazing to live, but it's
yeah,
probably not the I don't know forerunners of AI development and stuff. But that's okay because not everything has to be in the front row.
that's
So
true.
yeah,
True. All
cool.
right.
Thank you for coming. Before we go and wrap up, please state where people can find you. So it would be on the audio
Yeah,
as well.
for sure. I mean, best way to find me is at the AIadopters.club. That is my newsletter. Otherwise, Kamil Bank on X and on LinkedIn. Happy to connect there.
Wonderful. Thank you. And you will find this episode and all the show notes and the links and everything on ai.cmo.com.
All righty. Thank
Cool.
you so much.
Thanks
Appreciate
for
it.
everyone for coming and thank Kamil for coming.
Thank you. Have a good one. Okay.
Enjoy your day.
Thank you. You
Ciao,
too.
ciao.
Bye bye.